power of early intervention. Early intervention has a profound impact on a child's life because, the early years are really crucial for cognitive, emotional, and social development. And by addressing the unique needs of children with special needs early, then we can set them on a path to thrive as adults. But providing equal opportunity in education, healthcare, and social interaction is key to helping these children succeed in life. It's not just about access. It's actually about building their confidence and their resilience. Really creating an environment where children with special needs feel valued, understood, and empowered to reach their full potential. And this can't happen without the families. So in addition to other stakeholders and support systems, families play an essential role in a child's early development. And families of children with special needs also face unique challenges that we need to address. So supporting them with the resources and with the guidance can improve the overall well-being of the family unit in general. And then that just makes for better communities overall. So today we are fortunate to be talking to two of the most impressive organizations dealing with special needs in Turkey. We have Hülya Ekmen from Turkey Down Syndrome Association, and we also have Nigar Evgen, who's representing the Cerebral Palsy Turkey Foundation. You guys are a foundation, I believe, right? Vakıf. So without further ado, we're going to go into some conversations. First, about understanding the situation related to special needs in Turkey, then their organizational activities, and of course, if they're doing any special events in the earthquake and disaster regions as well. And then we'll talk about their collaborations with the Turkish Philanthropy Funds and how everybody can get involved and help support these really, really valuable initiatives. So, Hülya Hanım, Nigar Hanım, it's so lovely to see you. Wonderful to be together. Let's get started. Let's just talk. So, Hülya Hanım, could we start with you? Can you tell us a little bit about Down syndrome in general, what it is, how it presents itself, what's happening in the world and in Turkey in this front?
I, I'm a bit sick, so I apologize in advance if I cough from time to time. I would like to thank TPF for Turkish Philanthropy for supporting us in 2 cities in the earthquake zone and also for inviting us here today. It's a great honor for us to be with you and present our works. Down syndrome is a genetic condition which occurs from the triple of 21st chromosome. That's why the 21st of March is celebrated as World Down Syndrome Day. And it causes developmental delays, intellectual disabilities, and also some challenges in motor development. And the most important thing is the early intervention and education trainings. So it is very crucial. It's very important. The most important thing is that people with Down syndrome can reach their full potential. They can go to school with their peers, and also they can attend mainstream, and they can go to high school, and in some countries even they can go to the universities, and after that they can work and they can have independent lives if they have reached right supports. And every 800 birds, a baby with Down syndrome is born in whole world. Yeah, I can say that.
It's actually quite prevalent. And 1 out of every 800 births is quite a high number. So it is part of our mainstream life, and we should be able to assimilate and integrate with this condition and be able to continue to support families and individuals with this condition for everyone to thrive. So Nigar Hanım, can you tell us a little bit about cerebral palsy? And again, can you start with the basics? What is cerebral palsy? How does it present? What's happening in the world and what's happening in Turkey?
So, hello, Denise, Didem, excuse me. So I'm a little bit excited because, we spoke just at the beginning. I am now in Hatay, and sometimes the connection is very bad here. I hope I will finish my speech without disconnection and without any problems. So thank you very much for your invitation, first of all.
Just as a note, if we do get disconnected, please just come right back. We'll make it work.
Okay. It's really very valuable for us, for our foundation, that you give us this opportunity and that we have the opportunity to talk about our work, our experience, and what we do in Turkey. So it's very important that we start with some numbers, actually. In Turkey, the numbers are a little bit different than all over the world. Every year, 6,000 babies and children in Turkey are diagnosed with cerebral palsy, which means from every 1,000 children, about 5 of them are diagnosed with cerebral palsy in Turkey. Cerebral palsy is a most common physical disability in childhood and cannot be diagnosed, which is very important during pregnancy. So the child gets a damage on the brain, maybe during the pregnancy or just during the birth or after the birth, shortly after the birth. So mostly we are speaking about a physical disability, but sometimes, depending on the degree of damage on the brain and which parts, a child with cerebral palsy also can have, for example, delayed mental development, speech problems, epilepsy, spasticity. So that's why our foundation name is Spastic Children Foundation of Turkey, because this is the most common type of cerebral palsy. 70% of the children have spasticity, so they have pains actually. So they have always very much pain, so they need always medication and treatment for this. So, which is a good thing. Cerebral palsy is not progressive. So the brain has the damage, and but they need lifelong special education, rehabilitation, and medical follow-up. It's very crucial for them. And the family needs an interdisciplinary team support for the good of the child. So we are not talking only for one specialist. We are talking about orthopedists, neurologists, physiotherapists, special educators, everybody, speech therapists, because the child can have a multiple disability also. As Fulya said also, it's very important, the development of the baby. In Turkey, especially early interventions programs are not yet very established. Only some limited number of universities have studies about early intervention programs. As a foundation, since 2010, we are having high-risk babies in the foundation and support families by conducting them early intervention programs. So, and awareness is very important, especially for early intervention. Actually, early intervention programs are very important for all children and babies with special needs. So as Fulya said, also for Down syndrome the same, and also for autism the same. So we are doing a lot awareness programs about this subject by carrying out corporate social responsibility projects. So I would like to give you some small points, what kind of difficulties children and adults with cerebral palsy struggle in Turkey. Education. Actually, they don't get equally education. They don't get, most of the time they can't go to the mainstream schools with their peers. They can't be there because in Turkey we have lack of infrastructure. Accessibility is a big problem because the children with cerebral palsy, they mainly have problems with mobility. And also there is a lack of specialized staff the teachers, they are not well educated and they can't meet the special needs of these children. We have also a problem with rehabilitation services in Turkey. The government covers a limited extent of the rehabilitation services in Turkey. It's about 8 sessions per month, which is not enough, not at all enough for none of our children, actually. So I'm talking not only for cerebral palsy, for everybody.
For everybody.
Exclusion is for cerebral palsy is very big problem in Turkey because misconceptions about their abilities and potential in work life and daily life there's a big problem, you know, discrimination and exclusion is getting always a problem. Awareness, I would like to give you some numbers because you asked for it before I forget. All over the world, about 17 million people with cerebral palsy are living. And not only in our country, also in Western countries, there is a big problem with awareness. Society don't know what is cerebral palsy because it's
Right.
something very different, you know, they don't know, and that affects their daily life actually very much
So
because
true.
they cannot, you know, they can't be in the social life at all.
Yeah.
There are also employment problems and also accessibility, as I told you, accessibility in the school, accessibility to the
Supermarket,
workplaces.
yeah, everywhere.
Yes, accessible. That's why what I wanted to tell you. Actually, physical spaces, you know, parks, theaters, cafes, even sometimes metros, you know, or buses is a problem for our children and adults with cerebral palsy because of their mobility problems.
Yeah.
So these are...
You've done such a wonderful job, Nigara, explaining the challenges. And I think I'm just going to, before we go to the second question, I just want to loop in Fulya here for a moment. So you've really done a wonderful job summarizing kind of the challenges. And as you were explaining them, I just saw all these different stakeholder groups that you need to address. So everywhere from early diagnosis to then intervention, then the families, the teachers, the doctors, the healthcare workers, the business community, the community at large. You're dealing with everybody. It's a fascinating, and government, of course. So it's a really fascinating 360-degree look at your ecosystem and all the different programs that you need to actually deliver to make what's actually not such a niche problem, right? Or let's not call it a problem. It's not such a niche challenge. It's actually a lot more mainstream than we often think. And the statistics that you gave about the Down syndrome incidence or cerebral palsy, and even also Tohum Autism Vakfı, the autism spectrum, for example, it's a lot more common than we often discuss. Maybe we should be more proactive in being able to discuss, recognize, and address these situations in real life. What do you think, Fulya? Can you mention a little bit about beyond the needs, the stakeholders?
Yeah.
I know I threw a curveball at you, but I just thought it was a really interesting discussion when Nigar took it to outlining all the issues. Like there's so many stakeholders.
Yeah, there are so many stakeholders, and also as you said, the challenges are almost same. Even they have different kind of disability. All children with special needs, more or less, facing these social challenges, and also these challenges affects their ecosystem, their other stakeholders. As you said, for example, we see the bullying and exclusion problems. But the bullying, when we are talking about bullying, we always think about peer bullying, but the bullying starts with the teachers and principal at school, and also the neighbor or the children in the neighborhood. But when you look at them, the cause of that bullying is the attitude of their parents. So it's begin with the families. When a child is bullying in its environment, it affects also its family.
Mhm.
And so the other thing is that Nigar is said that the education, there are problems about integration in education and transition to inclusion at
Right.
schools.
Right.
So this affects children with Down syndrome, children with other special needs, but this also affects the teacher at schools and the other students at schools, because the insufficient support affects all ecosystem. And this make harder to integrate children, students with each other, and also students with teachers, and also family with the school ecosystem.
Sure.
They are always they are something like maybe it's a strong word, but sometimes they act like they're enemies with each other. They are always
yeah.
fighting for something. And also the other thing is prejudices and lack of social support and the accessibility issues. I want to add something to accessibility here. When we talk about accessibility, we think that physical barriers, or public transportation or at schools, but also for the people with intellectual disabilities like Down syndrome, lack of easy reading instructions, informations are also the problem about accessibility. We cannot accept this school's curriculum because they are not easy reading. Our children can use mobile apps and other things, but if they are not, if they don't have easy reading instructions, they cannot do that independently. So shortly, we may say lack of intervention models focusing the participation of a child with special needs is a problem. All methods are, we have lots of models, intervention models in early childhood, maybe in at school and after school life, but that intervention models focus on child, but they have some medical view of special need. They are not focusing the participation part. Participation is very important, and all models should focus on how we increase the participation of a child with special needs in his or her environment.
Interesting.
When we focus on this, and when we think about the accessibility and universal designs, then the whole ecosystem affected by these challenges, I think, will be relaxed. And they will focus on more value-added things than struggling with these problems.
Understood.
These blocks are progress, and also this creates some psychological and emotional challenges.
Right.
I want to give an example, if you allow me, about my personal life. It's very personal thing, but I have to share with you. I have a child with Down syndrome. She is now 16 years old, almost 18. Thank you. And we moved our house 3 times just to find a suitable school for her. Nobody wants her in their school, any school. So we moved our house 3 times. And also after that, psychologically and emotionally, I felt very terrible in that time. And I took some psychological support to deal with these things. So when our children begins to primary school, our families and their ecosystems is stressed. They feel stressful, and after that, in the secondary school, we because of the lack of transition programs, we again feel same
There's a
anxiety.
second
And then
milestone.
the high school and then the working life.
Adulthood,
I think,
sure.
yeah, I think we can say that we also have lack of transition programs from one level, developmental
the
level
next.
to another, to the next. Yeah.
Okay, so I'm gonna
I'm sorry.
thank you
I don't
so
know if
much.
I can answer your question, but
You did wonderful, and it was very helpful for you to share your personal story. So I do appreciate that. I would like to talk about your organizations and what are the key building blocks of your organizations, and maybe we'll flip it around. I'm actually going to add another question round, right? So let's talk about your organizations now, and then let's do another round to talk about what you're doing specifically for disaster relief recovery activities, if that's okay. So early childhood education in and of itself is a challenge. When it comes to special needs, it's an even more complicated challenge. And you're absolutely right. It's not just early childhood education, which is such a critical time to get a head start on addressing some of these issues. But then there's the whole lifelong transitional activities as well, all the way through adulthood and independent living. So Nigar, can we turn back to you and the Cerebral Palsy Foundation of Turkey? Can you talk a little bit about the main pillars of your organization and your program? How does it work?
So what we are doing. So
Yes.
actually the foundation is nearly 52 years old. Started as a society. It's a non-governmental organization and has been operating for public benefit. So we are actually working especially for people, individuals diagnosed with cerebral palsy. So we provide them services with a holistic perspective and to ensure them that they are integrated into the social life. This is, the big problem. So we are working for this. We carry out our services in a campus in Istanbul, which is in Ataşehir, Asian part of Istanbul, built on a 35-acre land. So we have many different centers there. So I'm going to explain you about this. Actually, we provide individuals with cerebral palsy and their families with the opportunity to receive holistic and uninterrupted services. The big from the moment of birth until advanced ages. The biggest problem for families who have children with special needs and especially with cerebral palsy, they have to go to different centers to get the services. Or one day they have to go to the hospital. The day after they have to go to a rehabilitation center, and the day after to the school and whatever, So what we are trying to do is to have all the services under one roof. So this is what we are trying to do, and uninterrupted from the baby with early intervention program until after the schooling, and then it continues. So we have one family counseling center. The counseling center is working especially with babies under high risk, 2 rehabilitation centers, all in one building, and special education schools from preschool to 8th grade. But these schools are for children with cerebral palsy plus multiple disabilities. So if they don't have any delay with learning, so they have to go to the mainstream schools to integration. Of course, we are supporting the families for this also. Very hard, I tell you, what Julio told before, every day, all of our families and parents are living this. We have to really work for it, really, it's not easy. So we serve monthly about 700 children and adults, and with a team of 120 specialists. So we are a big team for a foundation. And also in our campus, we have a residential care center, which is managed by the Ministry of Family and Social Services. So it means actually we are sharing the campus with government, with the ministry.
It's a beautiful example of public-private partnership. Very nice.
Over 40 years, we are working like this together under one roof all together. And the children, about 70 children with cerebral palsy, between the ages from 0 to 20, they are living with us in the campus. Sometimes I tell them, so we are in their house, you know. Actually, they are living there. These children are under state protection, which means they don't have families. So, you know, there is a problem with the family. There can be a problem with the family, or they don't have any families. So we put also very big importance to scientific programs and scientific studies. We have a volunteer academic board of 20 scientists. We follow national and international developments on this field, which is very important for us. We create models, and that can be applied in Turkey, you know, with the sources of Turkey, not something magic, whatever, you know. On the sources of Turkey, with sources of Turkey, the models, you know, we created also, for example, early intervention program. We did all these reports and everything. I hope it will be in the near future, the dream will be fulfilled. I hope my dream will be fulfilled, actually. We are organizing also many meetings, symposium, congresses to contribute to the training of experts. And we accept interns to the campus. As we have many centers, interns are coming from the university to our campus. And so they get trained there.
Yeah.
Actually, they know more about cerebral palsy when they are on the field, so they know what's going on with these children. And awareness, I spoke about this, is very important, and it's one of our priorities. We worked very hard for the recognition of World Cerebral Palsy Day in Turkey, in our country, every year on October 6th. So days,
Coming up.
we have
Coming
March
up, yes.
21, we have 6th, October 6th. We
Uh-huh.
carry out many activities with non-governmental organization, thanks to everybody from here. So they are supporting us really strong, very strongly, public institutions and companies. So they are always with us together. So I think we are going to speak about the earthquake area at the next session.
Uh-huh.
But maybe I can start a little bit because we are working also very hard, especially in Hatay. You know, I want to give you some numbers also. In this 11 cities, the total population in this disaster area is about 15 million people. So 15
million.
15 million people are living in this 11 cities, actually.
Right.
The number of people with special needs in these 11 cities is about 1 million. So 900,000, 50, whatever, something like this, about 1 million. So can you imagine comparing to numbers in Turkey, the population of people with special needs at the earthquake area is as a percentage more than in other cities.
Overall.
Therefore, it's important to do services, to do work here at this region. So thank you very much also to Fulya and to her team. So they are doing really magnificent work. So that's about the problems and what we are doing in Hatay. I will explain you
in a moment.
Okay, in a moment.
I mean, it's 50 plus years. Kudos to your organization, the visionaries behind it, and everybody who's been working at it over the years. It's so comprehensive what you were able to explain. Yolunuz Açık olsun diyeceğim. I'm really, really impressed that you have such breadth and depth of wisdom to share and offer to Turkey, and even internationally. You probably established many, many best practices. So I'm really curious to learn more. And Fulya, can we talk about Turkey Down Syndrome Association a little bit? What are your pillars of organizational activity?
Yeah, okay. We in in 2009, we started working as a platform, and then 2011, we completed the association process. In 2019, it was a good news for us. The Minister of Interior approved that we can use Turkey, name of Turkey,
Very nice.
at the front of our name. It's a great honor. It said that it means that our works, our services are well qualified.
Very nice.
And so what we do that, actually, I want to talk about our logo. Maybe you can see from my back that our logo is a turtle, and there is a meaning of that. It represents our targets groups and also our targets for the people with Down syndrome. It has three meanings for us. It represents people with Down syndrome. They learn as slowly as a turtle is slow, but they reach their goal, full potential, just as a turtle reaches its goal. And second, it represents the goal of our association. Our goal is for people with Down syndrome to live as independently as possible, just like an independent turtle that carries its house on its back and can go anywhere. And also it represent our families. In some mythologies, the world was formed on the back of a turtle. The turtle is an animal that carries the world on its back, and our families sometimes feel as if they carry the whole world on their backs. So our logo represents our goals and our aims for future. That's why I want to talk about them. And what we do that we work all Turkey, but also we have some works in Europe. We are in the board of the European Down Syndrome Association and very active there. And also we are the member of Down Syndrome International, and also we work with them about lots of programs. We created our lots of models for the people with Down syndrome with the collaboration of universities in Turkey and abroad, and also with the collaboration with other NGOs, both in Turkey and in Europe. We have independent living program, which helps people with Down syndrome to learn how to make their own shopping, how to transport independently, how to live at their home or spend their spare time, organize their spare time. This program, we created that program with the collaboration with Italian Down Syndrome Association and the Anadolu University. We have family trainings and newborn consultancy. It's very important, but because newborn families always comes to us in a month, almost 300 families call us and ask something about Down syndrome or legal rights or social aids. So we have a consultancy department dealing with that questions. We have also self-advocacy program, which is very, very valuable, I think, because I think we are the first, maybe the only Down syndrome association and having that program. We have our self-advocacy group. We work with them for years. We have been working with them for years, and now they learn how to talk about Down syndrome, how to talk about their life, and they visited companies with us. They give speeches at universities.
That is just so elegant. The self-advocacy program, very elegant, very nice. Keep going, keep going. I interrupted you, but it's very
Yeah,
elegant.
I'm working with youngsters on that program, and I love it. I love it because I learn a lot from them. You know, they guide us, and we begin to ask them our training programs. Our educators create a program and then send to our self-advocates and ask them if this is easy reading for us, if it is accessible for us. We begin to ask them, and they guide us. And these youngsters work a lot. They visited Parliament, and also they made a awareness campaign for vaccination priority for the people with Down syndrome during COVID-19, and they got it. They had vaccinated very, very early. And so also they work about social exclusion and poverty. They learn what is poverty, what is social exclusion, and they distributed foods in Kızılay, and they cooked for homeless people, and they said that, one of them said that it's very important. This is the reason why God created us. We have to help other people. This is why important, because everybody thinks that we help people with special needs. We help to them, but in that program, it is game-changing program. The role is changing. They are helping other people.
You actually just gave me goosebumps, because I think that the whole idea of philanthropy is also shifting from, you know, this kind, generous community helping somebody who needs help, as opposed to it's us enabling each other, right? So there's this enablement, and it's not an us üst ilişkisi diyeceğim, but it's not a hierarchical relationship anymore. Now it's much more of a peer-to-peer relationship where we're learning from each other. And you mentioned it perfectly, spot on.
Yeah, the combination comes to equal base. And also we have disaster and emergency support. We have another program about that. And we give scholarships to the students with Down syndrome and their families. We have sport programs, inclusive sport activities. We work with public schools and also some companies and also federations about it. We have a dance class. It's fun, and they perform in special nights. And so they collect donations for our association. It's very valuable. Also, we give a social aids to families. The other program is that employment program. We have a sports employment program. We started at 2010 or 2012, and this program. With that program in 17 cities, more than 100 persons with Down syndrome have been working in private companies in different areas. For example, they work in banks, in restaurants, in hotels, or in an accountants firm. And this program is very, very valuable for us. We have our own training program, sport employment training program. Also, we train job coaches who wants to work at that program. With that program, also, I want to say something about it. One of the families, I don't know if I can explain it in English, but one of the parents said that my son started work, and after that, in the family, he became visible. Before that, nobody asked his opinion during the family meetings, but now our relatives begin to ask to him, what do you think?
What do you think?
To do? Sure. What do you think? It's very important. So they become visible when they start working. And during the earthquake, most of them send us donations to send us from their wages, they send us money
Yeah,
to
help
help
others.
others. It's also very important. We have corporate awareness trainings and workshops to raise awareness in private companies. It's
Mhm.
also very good that companies
Mm.
call us and they ask from trainings from us, and we visit them
Wonderful.
with our self-advocates
Yeah.
and make workshops with them so that they can learn how they can communicate with someone with intellectual special needs, and
Mhm.
how they can include them in their own meetings, in their own companies. It's also very exciting for us.
It
Also,
is.
we have legal consultancy. We have a lawyer, and sometimes we sue the government or the state, but they are
For
happy
rights,
about
sure.
it. They are happy
Yeah.
about it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So yeah, as a shortly, and also we work in earthquake area as we start talking soon, I
Yeah, we're
think.
gonna talk about earthquakes
Thanks
now.
a lot.
Also, it's so comprehensive in such a short period of time, like 50 years on the one hand. I think yours is about 20, 25 years on the other hand. Very comprehensive, very international, global, where we're lucky to have both of your organizations and you in the leadership roles that you're in. And now let's get to the earthquake. So you mentioned that there's a very interesting proportion of people with special needs in the earthquake affected areas. It's higher than the average, the national average. And of course, it's already a difficult situation to begin with housing and schools and families being disbanded and lots of tragedies. How are you handling services in the earthquake region? Nigara, can we go back to you and you can summarize for us?
Okay. So the problems actually experienced by our children with special needs, also with cerebral palsy, after the earthquake was very severe, both physically and emotionally.
Of course.
Physically, even they had really big problems. First of all, since children with cerebral palsy have limited mobility, it was very difficult for them to evacuate quickly after the earthquake. It was really very difficult.
Mhm.
Their wheelchairs, so I will explain you also a small phone call which I made with a mother. Their wheelchairs, orthopedics, supportive materials, because our children need them, were trapped under the collapse. Hospitals, rehabilitation centers were destroyed, and access to services was severely disrupted. So, as we are talking since the beginning, children with cerebral palsy and with all special needs actually need regular follow-up for cerebral palsy, for physiotherapy, special education, devices, surgery, and medication. So I would like to explain you about this phone call with a mother from Hatay. Who needed a wheelchair. Fulvio will remember these days. We had a WhatsApp group of non-governmental organization, and I think I didn't sleep maybe 10 days, because it didn't stop, what families need, and all these phone calls and numbers and messages from the earthquake area was really, very,
It
very
sounds
time.
overwhelming. Yeah, really
Yes, it was
overwhelming.
very
Sure.
overwhelming. So I spoke to this mother, and she told me, she has a son, adult son, with severe disabilities, and she was staying in a wedding hall of the village because her house was collapsed. And the mother told me that she had to leave her son inside the hall, inside the building when there is an aftershock. I was really shocked, she cannot carry her out, and she was crying on the phone. I need a wheelchair for my son, whatever it is, because I want to take him out of the building when it's an aftershock, and then the most important thing and the most important priority for our children with cerebral palsy was to have the materials to be mobile. So what
Right.
we tried to deliver all these materials to the earthquake zones or to the areas where the families are transferred. At that time, you remember, most of the families with children with special needs or elderly people, they transferred very quickly to the other cities, to Istanbul, to Antalya, and whatever. So they did. So we, it was really very difficult for us also. You got the phone call, you want to deliver something, and she's phoning you now. I'm on the way to Antalya. So my address I will give you tomorrow. So it was really. We had to make many lists to control all these things. And of course, we worked a lot at this time with non-governmental organizations and with public institutions on food, hygiene materials. Everybody did this, and clothing during these first weeks, during this critical period. After the first month of the earthquake, we focused on a sustainable long-term project, which I'm going to explain you also a little bit afterwards, for children with cerebral palsy, especially in Hatay, because in Hatay, the devastation was very severe. It was, even today when I was here, after 19 months, not so many things are changed. It's getting better, but there are many work to do here, actually.
Lots to do, exactly.
Yes. The children needed urgent rehabilitation. As I told you, all the rehabilitation centers and hospitals were destroyed. 40 days after the earthquake, I personally went to Hatay. I came here to set up our first rehabilitation center in Büyük Dalyan Container City, which was the first container city in Hatay. Shortly afterwards, we reached out to families living in rural areas, and we activated our mobile services to provide rehabilitation where they live, because they couldn't come. Only one rehabilitation unit was not enough. So we started to give mobile services. This was followed by two other services. One is in İSO, Istanbul Chamber, how to say it, I don't know, Istanbul Ticaret Odası, Sanayi Odası, Container City, and the other one allocated by a philanthropist, business person from Hatay. And then after 3 centers, we expanded our target group in the earthquake zone in Hatay and opened our doors to all individuals with special needs, not only cerebral palsy, to everybody. And we also started to provide rehabilitation and physical support to amputee children and adults before and after prosthetics in cooperation with University of Çukurova, one of your partners, Children's Center for Goodness. So I think about 35 children of the Children's Center for Goodness get rehabilitation from our centers. Firstly, we started to work with our volunteer employees. They came from Istanbul. They said, okay, I'm voluntarily, I want to go to Hatay and want to work with these children. But shortly afterwards, we wanted to make our services sustainable. So we established a team of 7 people from Hatay. Now we are working with this team here in our 3 centers. We also support children who needed surgery. Surgery is very important for our children, also for amputee children and adults, individuals. In 18 months, I want to give you some numbers. I don't want to make any mistakes. So we provided about 8,000 sessions of rehabilitation, over 1,000 home visits, completed surgeries of 62 children, and 12 is coming this weekend. So I will be here until Sunday evening because our children will have operation in Adana. So I will be with them together there. Provided orthotics and prosthetics support to nearly 50 children, and conducted about 600 medical consultations with our academic board, which I told you. So they did all this work volunteer basis. Nearly every second
Incredible.
they are coming to Hatay to do all these consultations. And I'm very happy today, while I'm in Hatay, to announce you that we opened today a new center for people with special needs. Thanks to the philanthropist, Miss Elif and Mr. Osman Ovalı. So they are from Hatay, a couple and a very nice family. And the center is about 450 quadrat meter and will enable us provide our services permanently Hatay, which was our promise actually to people here in Hatay. So actually we achieved all this together with our
Amazing.
corporate sponsors, donors and collaborators. And especially many thanks to you, to Turkish Philanthropy Fund and your team for your valuable contributions. And I would like to convey here the greetings of our children and families from Hatay, because I was with them together all day long with them together here. So they were laughing and they were very happy. So they sent their greetings to you.
That's
I told
wonderful.
them tonight I will have a connection to United States.
That's wonderful. To hear them laugh must feel wonderful, very heartwarming.
Yes.
Some things are overwhelming and some things are so heartwarming. Hayırlı uğurlu olsun. That's wonderful that you're able to launch this permanent service and facility. Congratulations to your sponsors, your donors, all of your partners. And, you know, it's really incredible to see the level of collaboration and cooperation between NGOs during the earthquake. It's impressive that you're able to, you know, open your services to other NGOs as well and be able to collaborate in that way. Hayırlı uğurlu olsun, yolunuz açık olsun.
Thank you very much.
It's
Teşekkür
wonderful.
ederim.
Yeah. So, Filyacığım, can we talk too about the Down Syndrome Derneği and the earthquake response?
Yeah, okay. We started work for the earthquake region at the 7th of February, and we immediately built an emergency desk at in our association with the 10 staff. And we were on the phone almost 1 month, I think, at the beginning, without leaving phones, as Nigar said. First we checked our database, and we saw that we have lots of families in that areas, and we try to make connection with them, and after that we try to make connection with public authorities, and actually we shared their information to send them some emergency helps, aids and other things at the beginning. And after that, we begin to think about in long-term supports, and in that time we met with you. Thank you, thanks a lot. And we started in 4 cities in earthquake area: Kahramanmaraş, Adıyaman, Islahiye, and Iskenderun. And now we are in 3 of them. We are not in Kahramanmaraş anymore. We finished our works in there, but now we are in Adıyaman, Islahiye, and Iskenderun. And what was the challenges faced by children and families, as we saw? This is important, I think, because this is not special for Turkey, and this is not special for that earthquake. This is for in every emergency cases and natural disasters. First, the housing and security issues occurred. Many families lost their homes, and they had to leave temporary shelters, and that bring problems such as lack of hygiene, security, and privacy. And also the children with, and also the people with intellectual disabilities cannot give immediate response to changes. They don't like changes. So at the beginning, lots of families asked for tents from us because they don't want to leave their houses. They said that we can live outside the house, but we have to be close to the house because every day at 10 o'clock, my children wants to walk inside of it. He has a routine, for example, he said. So it wasn't, I think it wasn't easy for the families because of that reason. And children felt insecure, and this causes other problems, behavioral problems, also health issues, the stress. You know that stress also causes some health issues. There was a problem with obtaining medicine. Some medical things are difficult because you know that the whole lots of hospitals collapsed or damaged, and Minister of Health lost many doctors in there. It was very sad for loss of perspectives. So we were always talking with Minister of Health, and so that was the problem. And also, you know, that education interrupted. We, as from the beginning, Nigar and I said that the early intervention is important, and also the education during whole lifetime is very important, but education is interrupted, and so many school buildings were damaged. Also, they lost, many teachers were died because of the earthquake, and so after schools are open, some children didn't want to go to schools because they don't feel safe. So psychological trauma and lack of emotional support was also another challenge, and these are challenges also on the table. They are not disappeared in 1.5 years. So we saw that emotional reactions such anxiety, fear, stress, grief, negative and symptoms of post-traumatic stress disorder and sleep disorders. So we gave psychological support for that kind of issues. Also, there is a accessing to health services also was a problem, and at the beginning, lack of food and basic needs and hygienic food was a problem, and at the end, because of the loss of relatives and family members, now in the area we said that there is another problem: broken family structures. Families was broken, and we here everybody knows that, but maybe we have to emphasize that again. We are not talking about losing one parent or one relative from your family. We are talking in that area, families are very big. There are lots of children, and relatives are very close to each other. And you know that our representative in Adıyaman branch of our association, he lost 100 relatives from his family. And at the first 5 days, he had to rescue from them, and he had to bury of their families by bare hands. This is not an easy trauma that we can
And this is like, you
erase.
know, yeah, it's a little bit apocalyptic. I mean, it's so
Yeah.
unbelievable. It's really hard for people to wrap their head around. But when you have
Yeah,
such large family communities too, the
Yeah.
impact is just so broad. It's
So-
fascinating.
So for the children with special needs and families, in that emergency cases, you know that they traumatize more than other population, because they have other limitations to live in that situation. As Nigar said, that they have physical needs, but they have to live shelters. It's not easy for someone who has a wheelchair, to use wheelchair in the tents area, because the floor is not smooth. You know that these are all of these are very. Mostly we don't think about this, but when you look at there are too many details back of the problems. So also the other challenges for us, for the NGOs, I think, at least for my NGO, we started to work in that areas, and we want to build containers, training containers in the areas, but we have we had some problems. First, that relevant public institutions were very busy, so to get physical support for them, it's not so easy. They were very busy, and different situations were working for the connection of electricity, water, sewerage. Coordination was not possible. We struggled a lot in there. And also that institutions, and also at schools, in the Ministry of Family and Social Services, they kept changing in every 2 weeks, because they are lack of person in there, staff in there. So the staff always moved from Istanbul, Ankara, and because of the psychological burden of that work, they kept changing them. So it was another problem. It was difficult to find labor. Costs were high. And the area was very large, and also weather conditions were challenging. For example, our container in Adıyaman got flooded due to the rain just after we opened it.
I know.
And our container in Hatay is by the coast. Due to the storm, the coast and streets were flooded several times, and we had difficulties accessing the container, something like that. But what we have done is that we decided to make some events, trainings in there, not only for the children or people with Down syndrome, for the children and people with all kind of special needs and without special needs. So we said that we work in a inclusive way.
Very nice. That's the best approach at that point. Exactly. It was already so challenging. You had to be holistic, I think. You know, ladies, it has been such a pleasure getting to know you and to understand these really challenging issues that you're tackling so gracefully, especially when you look at it in general, but also when you look at it from the point of view of disaster relief and recovery. We know that some questions have come from the audience asking how corporations can do more and to learn more. From what I understand, each of your organizations is willing to do trainings and seminars and activities with companies to explain the situation and how they can get better involved. Your level of collaboration and cooperation is evident, and also your respect for each other is heartwarming. I'm so impressed. We're kind of out of time, so I'm going to wrap up here today, but I do hope we'll have another chance to talk again soon and follow up to this conversation for our special issue of children with special needs, because it's such an important topic and it's so much more prevalent than we often think. But you may find more information and opportunities to donate to both of these valuable organizations, along with Tohum Autism Foundation, who couldn't join us today, but through tpfund.org, our website for the Turkish Philanthropy Fund. There's a campaign for general donations to the Earthquake Fund, but you may also find the specific donation pages of both the Türkiye Spastik Çocukları Vakfı, the Cerebral Palsy Türkiye Foundation, and also the Türkiye Down Syndrome Association Dernek. So thank you, Nigar. Thank you, Fidel Yolunuz Açık Olsun. I wish you so much love and energy to keep doing the wonderful work that you're doing. It's been a pleasure talking to you. The children are lucky. early intervention, lifelong support, and of course, the families and all the different stakeholders. We're really lucky to have you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.